I'll get that going before I forget. Let's see. How do I do the waiting room thing? I'll go ahead and whoever Laura's iPhone is, I'm gonna go ahead and admit them into the room, I guess, because it's.
Rob, did you find anything out from the attorneys? Are they actually doing any work? Or we fired them?
I've not found anything out. The last I heard, they wanted us to sign that agreement thing for them to move forward, and I'm like, why don't they just? I agree with you. Why don't they just do what they were doing? I don't.
Oh, you didn't call them after that? I thought you were gonna call them and hey, just do it, or we'll just have our other attorneys do it, and you can get your $300.
I don't call attorneys because it turns into me costing money. Figure we'd have to go through Ashley anyways, because yeah, if you call the attorneys, they're gonna charge us on top of that, like $80 for a consultation. But like I'm tired of paying you guys. I see a message from Ashley. Hang on. Do you have the login information? Oh, hang on. Let me send that to Ashley.
The messenger says she wouldn't.
It's the last thing that was in the messenger.
Yeah, but Ashley's not on the messenger.
Yeah. Hang on, I gotta send it. I thought I sent it to everybody before. I'll send it to her. Hang on.
Does anybody have the ability to project the spreadsheet for the budget on this meeting, or do I have to use my phone to look at it?
I'll be doing screen share once we get
there. Okay.
Let's see. Hang on. Let me get this for Ashley real quick. More copy. Okay. Let me message this to Ashley. I'll go ahead and let Laura in. I think I can give Eric more control here. Let's see. Make host allow to.
And I have this share screen option when we get to it. I don't know if we don't know yet.
Do you already have that?
Yes.
I think everybody has that option.
Okay. So if it doesn't work for some reason, let me know, and I can always. I guess I can make you the host like we did that one time. I'm working, so if I gotta go, I'll just leave it running.
Are we waiting for Virginia and just get started?
I think just go ahead and get started. It's 6:03, so if she pops in, we'll get her added in.
Alrighty.
Should be good. Oh,
did we announce the new board members yet, or do we need?
I guess we could officially announce them. We added Matt and an announcement is made. There you go. We've announced. Welcome, Matt. Welcome, boys. Thanks
Happy
for
to be here.
Yeah, thanks for being willing. Half the time that's part of it.
Do we have anything for landscaping, Rob?
No, it's winter time. Everything's pretty much just kind of humming along. Unlike the down by Wakefield, going down Regent, where their water is still spraying everywhere, creating icy slicks every day. Our stuff's winterized, so that's pretty much all I got on that. Pool, nothing really new on pool. I think I sent out. Did I talk to you guys about the $1,500? I think I sent out a message about that, right?
Yeah, the fine that's getting reimbursed by the company.
No, that's a separate deal. So we got the reimbursement of the fine. Still have to get that from Carolina Carolina Pools. The joke of it is we're gonna have them do. There's a leak in the line between the clubhouse and the pool. So it has to do with one of the pumps through there, for the overflow. That's what it is. Sorry, I'm trying to think while I'm driving here. So the overflow, there's a leak in the line somewhere there. So you're looking at like $1,500, I think it was, roughly, worth of work that has to be done there. So, you know, I know I'm gonna at least recover $1,500 of the fine right away. And then there's always $500 worth of annual things that need to be replaced, little bits of things here and there, signs, stuff like that. So one way or another, we'll get our money back. And, you know, it's just a matter of, I'd rather they just pay us the reimbursement. I reached out to Brandon. I know he was out with COVID. His wife was out with COVID at one point. They were sharing COVID around. There's a lot of family works at the company. So if people start getting sick like that. I talked to Ann Waters, our manager, a few weeks back. She's being moved to a different area and they have another guy coming in for us. So I'll reapproach Brandon and just be like, hey, what are we doing with this fine? Ashley, did you ever invoice them on that? I think I got her in the meeting, didn't I? Oh, you know what? Let me hit the added button. Yeah, that's my bad. I thought I had hit it. Hi, Ashley, are you in? Ashley's probably got to go through all the little startups you got to do. Ashley, can you hear us now?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Hey, sorry about that. I thought I had accepted you in. That was my fault. Well, welcome to the meeting. We're in the middle of talking about the pool. Did we ever invoice for the fine over to Carolina Pools? Okay.
Yes.
Any response to that?
I haven't gotten anything back. And Danielle, excuse me, the checks were deposited today, and that was not on the list of what I was told was deposited. But let me reach out to Brandon right now and see where that check is.
Cool. That's the only thing outstanding on pool right now. I don't think I was trying to think if there's anything else with the pool. I think that was pretty much it. They're going to move the area manager. We'll get a new manager coming in. They're kind of shuffling around. I think their problem is just like everybody else. They can't get any work or any workers. So they're
Is it Colleen?
things.
Is your person Colleen? Okay.
It might be. I'm not sure. There's just a let me know. Anne mentioned a name and she said she wasn't sure. So I didn't commit it to memory because I didn't know for sure.
Yeah.
And then Eric had asked before, so with the attorney, they kept wanting us to, this is the old attorney, they kept wanting us to sign a new agreement. And the discussion came back of, you know, what's the point of signing a new agreement? Why don't they just do the work that they were supposed to do and just be done with it? If they don't want to do anything with it. The only thing I'm wondering about, you know, Eric, you were saying, if they're not going to do it, we'll have our new attorney do it. I mean, what do we do about, I assume there's some fees already there from them, right?
I think it's under $400, but we can just tell them they're fired and give the case to the new attorneys. They just have to put in an appearance and it's their case.
I think that's probably the easiest thing to do at this point, since they suck and still haven't done the only foreclosure they've had for freaking 3 years.
I think the only issue with that might be is you might have to start that process all over again.
How much does that particular account owe us? I mean, outside of the attorney fees.
That's the biggest one in the entire name.
Is that the one that's like several $1,000s? Yeah,
it's 4,000 plus.
Yeah, that's the one they just have never paid dues.
Hey, Eric, do you happen to have the property address?
I don't want to say that over the.
Oh, understood. Understood. You're right. My apologies.
I can text you.
Okay, that would be great.
Not that we'd be in trouble, but I'd feel bad. Put somebody on Front Street. You know, I would assume they've had a lien in place this whole time, right?
They've had a lien for like 3 or 4 years because we checked that last.
Yeah. Normally, they would send a letter saying, "Hey, we're going to foreclose." And once they start that foreclosure process, people come in clutch with, "Hey, can I start making payments and pay on this bill?"
Well, they
I
were
guess-
the ones
I
that
guess
wanted
they
to pay like half of it, and we're like, yeah, no.
Yeah, which was never a part of their original agreement. Their
then
agreement was
we-
supposed to be, we get paid after they, or they get paid when they collect. So,
Well, yeah, well, no, the homeowners
Offered like 2,500 and we told them no like 4 months ago, and that was it.
oh,
No one did anything since then. Like, I don't know why our attorneys didn't follow up, or they.
that's right. That's right. I remember it now. That's right. I had mixed up that one with another one. So that makes sense now. We had told them thanks, but no thanks to paying so little. Because it's frustrating. They've paid they've essentially paid no dues since they've lived in the neighborhood, or since that house has existed. Just never paid dues. Like, and then come in
Well-
and say, "Hey, I'd like to pay half the dues."
I do have good news for you. I
Okay.
am looking at the account. It is paid in full and they have sold the property.
Oh, they finally sold it. That's what happened.
Yep, that's what happened.
Oh, well.
Well, we
hey,
knew
There
they
you
were
go.
trying to sell it, so we're just kind of waiting for them to sell it. So I guess there goes half of our delinquencies then.
Yeah, pretty
That's
much.
fantastic. So they paid like $4,000 they owed or whatever.
That's what it says.
Well, I'm sure
Well,
they
that's awesome.
bought it closing because
Yeah,
on the property they had to be clear.
to get the lien. Yeah. Well, that's fantastic. There you go. That's good news. So I guess now if we just get the pool company to pay the bill on their late fee, then, which like I said, I mean, they're going to easily rack up $3,000 that in the first couple months here. So if they don't pay us, just be like, well, we're just not going to pay you now. It's like, let's not. The only thing I don't have to deal with another company, so such a hassle. So I guess we'll see where that goes. So there you go. That's pool landscaping and the delinquencies. Any other major delinquency issues that we need to discuss?
No, it's better than it's ever been. That was the one that was dragging us down, but we've been better the last couple of years, mainly because we went to that new attorney that actually did collections and got people to pay.
Yeah. So
So basically, our
all
order
right.
nothing. They just sat on it and they sold the house.
Yeah.
They sold it
Hey.
on November. So
Ultimately, if they paid the bill, they paid the bill. Because I'm sure there was late fees and stuff lumped in there too. So
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
yeah, if you like paying late fees, whatever.
So AMG's happy they get some money.
Yeah. You guys got a little cash. We got a little cash.
Oh, yeah, I
That's
would
good.
love the cash to come to me, but I think we all know it does not. So,
Yeah, I don't think you're getting the cash.
no, I'm not.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
So I heard
Well,
back
as-
from Brandon, and he said that he will call the accountant in the morning to get
Okay.
that paid for you guys.
If that gets done too, then we'll be in a great place.
Ashley, are you just making a new line item for that? Is that what you were talking about earlier with me?
For the DHEC?
Yeah. Well, no.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
is it going? It's just in one of the pool line items, or is it gonna get? It's gonna be in that DHEC one we made, right?
it's going to be in that DHEC one, yes.
Okay.
So are we pre-planning for DHEC fines now?
Well, no, because we had to pay. We had to already pay it, so it's crossing over 2 calendar years, so we needed a new line item number for it.
I gotcha. Well, I appreciate that. So that doesn't
Otherwise,
just
it
come
would
out
just
of pool.
disappeared.
Yeah. I thought you were just gonna hit the pool budget, say I went over, and then pay me back.
Yeah, but then you can't track it as easily. So.
No, I definitely appreciate that you're not gonna do it that way.
And then you're making what's the property tax one? Does that just go to the line item that we already have? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, it'll go right back into that one as a
Oh,
credit, of course.
okay. So
What was the
only other
bad
thing
debt thing?
What was that, Rob?
What was the bad debt thing that you were trying to work out with Danielle again? I know we've had that pop up in the past where we've had bad debt appear, and I'm like, why do we have bad debt?
Oh, so I'm trying to get some more clarification on that. So what it looks like is there are like 5 accounts that the properties have sold. And like one of them is like a late fee. And I'm questioning, why didn't you guys just waive that late fee? So I'm going to have them go back through and remove some of those late fees. And that should reduce what shows up on your end as bad debt.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense? That's my plan. I think Brittany was
Yeah.
just doing what she was told to do. And then when I looked at things, I noticed there are 5 different accounts and I'm thinking, you know what? I think there are ways that we can make this cheaper for the HOA. So give me a little bit of
So is
time
it-
to work on that.
So is it basically they sold the property before it went to collections, so they just kind of got out of their late fees?
Yeah, like one of them is a late fee. One of them, oh gosh, owed like $97. So they're relatively small. There's 5 properties, you know, kind of small increments. I think the largest one was like 97. And I can't
Don't
remember
they,
what that one's for.
Don't they, when they go to buy the property, don't the realtors collect like a letter from you guys saying that there's no money owed on the property or something?
Yes, that's where I am confused. So like I said, I want to go back through and look at each of them a little bit more carefully and see what I can do to actually figure out. Because I think Brittany just went in there based on what Daisy told her to do. So,
Yeah.
you know, and she didn't look at things like I would look at things. So give me some time and I will go back through there and I will write down specifically the property addresses and then
Okay.
how much and the issue. So you guys can have that in email.
The total amount's under $250. It was just weird because there was $204 in a line item for townhomes and 35 in a line item for single families that we were trying to figure out what it was since I was doing the year end stuff.
Okay. All right. What else you got?
Hey, Ashley, what are the welcome packets?
Oh Lord, I'm telling you, that's killing me. So it took me
The welcome
2 or
packet.
3 emails to finally get something for you. I don't have it yet, but I had to get Danielle involved in order to get you guys an example of what it looks like for your community. Because what they sent us and it said in the email that I'm not allowed to share. It's only for AMGIs only. So basically what it is, it's an email that says, you know, to Rob Smith from blah, blah, blah at AMG, and then it copies me on it. And then it talks about, you know, welcome to your community. Please go to this particular site. So you're going to type in something. It's going to give you a password. And then it has like your HOA documents, frequently asked questions. How do I get a pool fob? What is the cost for a pool fob? Parking and things like that for the townhomes. So just random things like that.
AMG created?
That's what it looks like to me. It's a frequently asked questions. Like it'll say, welcome to Almond Glen. And
So we're paying $15 for AMG to redirect them to a website that's not our website.
that is, don't tell anybody, but that's my interpretation of it.
So
I'm
wait,
like,
is
why?
it $15 every single time we get a new person? Is that what they're doing?
Yes, that's what happened.
That's exactly what happens. And I let Danielle know that you guys are not thrilled about it and you don't want to pay it.
It
I'm
better be,
assuming that's what you were saying. I was reading between the
It better-
lines on that one and I just went
You know,
for it.
that's one of those things where they're putting a lot of, because they're gonna be like, yeah, we did 18 packets, and be like, cool, give me the names of every single person you sent one to, because I'm gonna go ask them if they got their welcome packet email. And when
Well,
you
the
miss
kicker
one of
is
them-
I don't know what email it goes to because my neighbor doesn't even know about it. Because I asked her.
yeah,
like,
I've had people ask.
She brought
I've
she
had
brought
people
me
ask
over
me
the
for
mailing that
years.
was the 2 pages of like paying your dues. Like she didn't
Yeah,
even know
that's
about the
exactly.
email.
I've had people ask me for years about welcome packets, and I'm like, we never have done a welcome packet. And I get realtors who contact me and say, what do I gotta do about a welcome packet? Like I do understand that they need to get like their AMG password and stuff signed up, but I'm like, it's all these little fees that have popped up over the last couple of years that are really starting to get annoying because, and that's why when they were wanting us to sign the new corporate contract, I was like, there's like 400 little stupid fees in here. So
Yeah,
yeah, I don't know.
there are a lot. I'm going to be on your side on this one. If you
Yeah.
have a comprehensive website like you guys do, I'm like, what's the point? And you do. And people email me, how do I do this? I'll tell them,
Yeah.
and I'm like, hey, also join the Facebook, go to the YouTube, and here's your website. So
Yeah,
all the
it's-
information's right there.
Hey Rob,
It's one of those
I
things.
need you to let her in,
Who does?
Virginia.
Oh,
He's under the Art Ministries one again.
Gotcha.
Okay, so to be determined on welcome packets.
Yes, TBT. I mean, two. I'm hoping I'll have that for you tomorrow. And then you guys can write me a scathing email and say, no, we do not want this.
Won't write a scathing email. We just won't authorize you to transfer the
I
funds.
figured I didn't want it once I found out it was $15 a person, but I wanted to at least see what it was.
You know, I think it's
Yeah.
a neat idea. I just don't know if it's $15 worth, in my opinion.
Well, I think what I'd want to know, you know, if we've been charged for a certain number of packets, I'm like, I want to know exactly who they all went to, and let's see if they got them. A lot of people are probably they're going to junk if they're even getting them. Yeah,
That's true.
one of those things. Yeah, I don't even know. I would get it if there was somebody contacting you and you were having to go through a bunch of trouble or something to get it to them. But I mean, you know, that's one of those things too. If they were like, well, every time somebody calls in and says they need to do it, we have to send them the information, and that's what we're in charge for. I'd be like, well, isn't that what we already pay for a manager for? Like
Right.
that seems like your normal duties of getting phone calls and having to deal with people mad at you all the time.
Yep.
I think Virginia's in now. Is
What's
she in?
up, folks?
Hey,
I'm-
Virginia, gonna read-
Where?
let me recap for you real quickly what's happened.
Hey,
Hey, I'm gonna recap for you real quickly what we talked about. There was like $4,000 owed in HOA dues to us from somebody in the neighborhood. Ashley just checked that account's paid. They sold the house. She's reaching out to the pool company to try to find out when they're gonna go ahead and get that $3,000 fine paid to DHEC. We already took care of it, so we wouldn't get any more fines. I got the official closure letter. It's all taken care of, but we're trying to get reimbursed. Brandon from Carolina Pools told a message back to Ashley, said he'll contact the accountant in the morning. So I guess the check's in the mail. What else was there? The pool has to have like a $1,500 project done to fix the leaky line. I think I messaged you guys about that and let you know, hey, that's something we're gonna have to do. It's already getting going. And then
okay.
the welcome packets are to be decided. We'll figure out what's going on with the welcome packets. That's pretty much, I think, everything,
Okay.
right? Where we are.
All
And
right, cool.
the big one's done.
Say that again.
And the big foreclosure is gone now, finally.
Yeah, that was the first one I was talking about. Yep, big foreclosure. So
To what?
that's where we are.
got
There was like a
Oh, you're talking-
4,000. Yeah, there was like a
Oh, yeah, yeah,
$4,000
yeah.
bill that
Okay.
was owed to us. Yeah, that's taken
Alright.
care of.
Got it. All right, no problem.
So
No problem.
there's the recap. And then we
Okay.
introduced that Matt and Boyce are on the
Hey,
the
Matt
board
boy.
now.
Hello.
Hi, how y'all doing?
Good. How are you?
Good, good.
And
Welcome.
I noticed, Matt, is your name M-A-T, just M-A, no, not double T's, just one T?
Yep. Single T.
Yep, there you go.
All
Matt
saw
has
that on
one
there.
T, Boyce has two T's.
Right. It's true. All right, so what else you got, Eric, on HOA stuff with the budget stuff?
I'll do all the budget at the end because I'll just go through the 2021 for like 10-15 minutes. Nat, did you want to say anything about the entrance? I guess we can introduce it. There's no one on here except one person except for the board.
And we appreciate Laura. And we
If
appreciate you
if
being-
anyone goes to the YouTube and watches it, they've been trying to redo the intersection on Caprington Drive by the entrance and the traffic light there by Regent Parkway. It's gonna get redone. There are plans to redo and widen Harrisburg Road from Regent Parkway down, I think, all the way to Providence Road, whatever it's called in South Carolina. And then they were trying to reroute our entrance and say that you couldn't turn in from it. Now it's going to be like a turnout and then a suicide lane. So we were looking into rerouting to the light. So Matt put together a design. Matt, do you know if we would need any of the adjacent property to line up with the light correctly?
So
Just-
I took basically the file that you gave me from SCDOT's plans and just dropped it in on AutoCAD. All of I'm gonna actually share my screen. But I can't. Anyway, I can send out a new exhibit. So it was coming straight across, and we have a 55-foot right-of-way right there. I don't know whether the county is going to make us do a 66-foot right-of-way for the first 100 feet. Sometimes they do that at signalized intersection. Caprington beforehand was a variable, so it goes down to 55, but it expands where it meets the regular road. From what I can see, it looks like we won't have to move anything. And actually driving by there, I think the fence from the adjacent property is actually on our property. Not entirely sure if that's accurate. We need a survey, and whoever's doing the design would get that.
Oh, what I learned a couple years ago when we were doing the parking map and property lines and everything, the online lines don't actually match up exactly.
Oh yeah, I
Places
didn't use
with the property lines.
I didn't use that. I threw it into AutoCAD and threw it into a coordinate system. So it's as close as I can get it without a survey.
Okay, so we may not need to go on theirs.
Yeah, we should be able to route around it. And I had some adjustments so that they won't have to relocate that existing pole for the light. So the driveway just kind of wraps around that pole.
Okay.
And all they would need to do traffic wise is add a stoplight across the street at Region Parkway. And then I don't think we'll need to talk to the adjacent property unless they make us do a 66-foot right of way at the beginning.
Okay. And then what do we need to do going forward from here? Should we go SCDOT route or Lancaster planning? Neither one's super responsive.
Since SCDOT is doing the work, SCDOT is probably
Yes.
the people we should reach out to, and then they'll reach out to the companies putting in the houses down the street, because it's two different companies that are dealing with two different engineers. I actually worked for one of them, and I know somebody who works for the other one. So
Okay. So I guess Rob, Virginia, and Boyce, do you guys have any questions about, do you guys want to just try to go forward with it and just see what happens and reach
I
out?
guess my question is this something we were planning to pay for ourselves? Is that the direction you're going with this? Trying to get the neighborhood to pay for this?
Or trying to get the developers or SCDOT to kick in and just see how much is left over?
I know that, yeah, I know that was the original discussion, was trying to kind of force the developers to do it or buy into it. But yeah, because I mean the project cost, wasn't Matt estimating someplace in the area of like 300,000 or something?
$147,000.
Okay, I don't remember where I got 300,000 from then, but yeah.
That's also not including, I made a guesstimate on trees, and that doesn't include taking out dirt. So
So
the dirt
maybe
cost
that's
is
where
probably going to add, it'd probably be about $300,000.
okay. So I don't know if we discussed, if you threw that into part of your discussion, or if I just kind of
Yeah,
estimated it in my brain. So you're talking
the
about like
100 and-
if
the
it came
one-
out of the neighborhood's pocket, you're talking like $1,000 a house.
Yeah, since in my experience with land development and housing development, because I've used to design those neighborhoods, if it causes a traffic impact, they'll make the other developments, the new ones, pay for improvements. And since there's
Sure.
two of them going right down the street, they should be able to split it.
I'm with you on that. Hey, man.
Yeah,
Excuse me.
200 or $300,000 in the grand scheme of, a couple $1 million.
Yeah, that's a drop in the
Like,
bucket.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, we literally went down the $300,000 rabbit hole with the swimming pool. So yeah, I mean, I'm all for it if we can convince somebody else to pay for it. I just
Yep.
doubted if it was gonna come out of our pocket. I was gonna say we probably need to start talking to the neighborhood pretty hard because that's a big push.
Yeah, I listen, before the traffic inconvenience of us, because we were here first, I am all for that. Let's do that. Because it's gonna be a mess.
Caprington also being a Lancaster road, I'm sure that Lancaster County would want some input with SCDOT on rerouting it. I don't know why
That part of-
originally. they
That
Yeah,
part
they
of
don't-
Caprington belongs to the neighborhood.
It belongs to the neighborhood? Oh, okay,
That top part, yeah, from basically in front of all the town homes, that's all HOA owned.
okay.
Now, I mean, it still might be something that the county wants some word on because you are changing an entranceway and, emergency vehicles coming in and out and all that, but, I don't see any reason why they'd gripe at you about it.
Hmm.
Sounds like it'd make easier access, so. Boys, you got any thoughts, man?
I'm just
So what would be
digesting.
the,
I was just thinking that the what you're talking about is a pretty big project too. I mean, Matt, I saw all the drawings that you've done. They look fantastic, and whoever did the budget for how much it is per linear foot, all of that was great. I'm as you guys are talking, I'm racking up logistical issues or logistical tasks that are mounting, and they're pretty big. If you're talking about the idea of having two developers pay for something they don't want to pay for, it gets complicated. So the only question that I have is how can I help with that? Because I can be a little persistent if I have to be. And that's what it's going to take to have two people pay for something when otherwise all they're doing is widening the road, and they can simply widen our current entrance into the neighborhood rather than putting in an existing or a new intersection and curving around. So
well, they was, oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I'm listening. Go ahead. I've done all the reading.
Oh, wait. Yeah, they came at us to basically wanted to close that entrance, and we told them no.
And so now we've got. So I guess the only the question I have, the first question is, what does that look like? Like, how do you go about getting the two developers that are closest to us, causing the road to be widened, to agree to front the bill for that? Because I agree that it should be done. I just don't know how that works. And if I have to jump into the rabbit hole and try to figure that out, I will. But that's my biggest question right now.
Realistically, it was something that should have been talked about with Lancaster County when the proposing of the two developments was started. Normally they have a TRC meeting where other communities talk about their concerns and everything. And I think there was a TRC or a county meeting before what was supposed to be our last meeting. And that's normally where they talk about this stuff. And other communities pose their objections and come to concessions. Like I had a development that was the roundabout going into Lancaster County. That was a concession. It was an improvement that needed to be made because traffic was going to increase. Best thing that we can do is argue that someone at the county and SCDOT looked over the fact that there is a neighborhood here that has an entrance within 300 feet of a light, and they didn't consider increased traffic counts and how that was going to affect this neighborhood. And that's just, you can't just say, oh, too bad for the neighborhood.
Matt, this is Eric. The Lancaster County Planning Commission discussed it on January 15th of 2019. That's when, and then it was, I think sometime in January, February 2020, when they finally reached out to us to try to get everybody to sign off and give them an easement to expand the road. And we did them, and so did a lot of other homeowners. So I don't think it's been discussed since then, because I checked the minutes unless it's been recently. But they have a lot of homeowners that did not sign off on the easements for them to even be able to widen it down that road. So I think they might even be stuck right now. So it might be worth just reaching out to SCDOT and seeing where they're at in terms of
Yeah,
the whole project.
because I think my townhome's one of the townhomes that we didn't get permission asked at all. So, and it was before we bought. So,
Well, yours, the only property they needed to do the expansion was property that the HOA owns on the opposite side of the road. Everything else, they already had enough space on the side by the back of the townhouses with
gotcha.
the easement cesspit that they already have for the road.
Well, is there a direct contact with CDOT or SCDOT that you guys have been dealing with, or is it just them in general?
While he's looking at that, Matt, if you need help with hounding people, let me know. I work at home and I don't have terribly too much to do, so I'm happy to be on the phone and just bothering people about this. And it would make our lives a lot easier if we had a lighted entrance and exit, especially with the new traffic and the new homes coming.
Yeah, making the suicide lane option is just kind of, the road is already hard to get in because I turn in on that road, and it's just people cut over. I feel like that entrance would ultimately get blocked off if they don't change it. So,
Well, hard time selling the name Suicide Road to anybody.
yeah, suicide lane.
But that was the first thing that I had read when I got on the board, I don't know, a month or two ago, was about the way this road was going to be modified. But I don't have any experience with how to deal with SCDOT aside from paying the tickets that I get. So just let me know how I can help.
And I just sent you the contact for the guy I talked to last year when I emailed him trying to get the full Harrisburg finalized plan. Last year, he didn't respond. I ended up getting it from Rox Burnham from Lancaster. That's the email I forwarded you. But David Gamble is the one that's our district. So I sent you his info. So that's probably your best bet for a starting spot, unless he took another job.
Yeah, I can't remember who's the person there now. I deal with so many reviewers on a daily basis that they're all the names are just blended together.
Yeah, I mean, he was really nice. He's like, I don't give a shit. He's like, I'd rather you guys reroute to the light. And he's like, I don't care who pays for it. We would just prefer it be rerouted to the light, but we're not going to pay for something. Is what he said.
He didn't by any chance send that an email, did he?
What do I have an email from him?
That would be immensely helpful, but phone call probably not.
I don't think so. I think it's just phone calls. I don't see anything from him email wise other than he had me send him that. Everything else was with that developer that was required to expand the road and trying to get everybody to sign off on their property. Up here it is, forward. Matt, always. With 2 T's. Okay, I just forwarded the one where he said that they preferred that it be rerouted to the light.
Awesome.
But can in no way require the developer to make this change. So there you go. At least we have something. All right, anything else on that? We're just gonna let Matt run with it and let us know what he needs.
The only thing I can think of that we might need to pay for would be, and also it'd be something that we would definitely try to get them to pay for, but it'd be a new plat for that front entrance, because we're changing the right of way, so setbacks would change. But all of the townhomes and everything else are out of the setbacks, what would be new setbacks. So we'd definitely try to get other people to do it. So
Well, we got rid of the common reserve contribution this year, and we're going to do it for the next 2 years by not charging people for it. So we had money in the operating account that was excess. So, and we have like $80,000 there that's just extra to play with if we need to. So, I mean, it's not like we don't have money to contribute that won't put an extra assessment on everybody. We just have to figure out what the final amount's going to be and how we need to go about it. Because I don't think leaving it the way it is going to be useful, because they're going to make it a suicide lane that whole way down and then give us a turn in at the Almond Glen main entrance as well that leads to the pool. So, I mean, theoretically, it could be backed up all the way where both of them are blocked from cars turning left if we get traffic pre-COVID again. And it could be a pain in the ass to even get in coming south from North Carolina.
it already is.
You weren't here for the fun. It used to back up where, like, in the mornings for rush hour, it would be backed up past our neighborhood going north, because it would be backed up all the way from the light next to that like soccer shop and Habitat Restore.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've had a couple of people almost take me out in that lane, turning left to the townhome. So, and then they think that the lane belongs to them, but it doesn't belong to them. It's our turning lane.
It's weird. They always move for me for some reason.
Yeah, they take that car. That's why. Yeah.
Last time I rode a bike on the road was when I almost got sideswiped right there, right where she's talking about. And
Yes.
that on the road since.
It's horrible. So it's only going to get worse. So if we can, I thank you guys. If we can get something done, and if there's anything I need to do to help anybody, send an email, do whatever, let me know. If I have to need to take a trip down to Lancaster, pick up something, let me know, because usually early mornings, before I get started, I can do something. So just let me know, because turning in our neighborhood is already horrible. It's only going to get worse.
Okay, I'll reach out to SCDOT, David Gamble, and see if we can get his input. If they're okay with what I've drawn, then I'll ask him what he thinks the best approach would be for dealing with anybody else, whether it needs to go through Lancaster County or just approach the developers.
Matt, I just emailed you the PDF of the letter that we sent in 2019 or 2020,
2020.
and the meeting minutes for that meeting, so you can actually see what they were requiring. It's referenced in that letter too.
Okay.
But that's pretty much all I got. That's
Gotcha.
what we've done so far.
Disapproval of the current roadway options for the Regent Parkway and Harrison. That awesome. Good job.
Okay, that should be everything for the road, unless anybody else has any other road question things.
I got nothing.
I'm good.
All right, well, I guess we'll do the the townhome roofs next real quick. I guess probably the easiest way to do is just to read off the ones that were covered. Okay, so the way our insurance policy works for the two people that actually watch this YouTube video is that each building, we pay for the premium. It's all inclusive for all the coverage we have for the neighborhood. So it's the townhome buildings, it's the pool area, it's the pool house, it's the common area. Everything's covered for liability. We have directors and officers insurance, and then we have structural coverage for all the townhomes and for the pool house. It also has coverage for the pool, which I'm not really sure why we need structural coverage for the pool, but we have it. It's included. So there's a company that was going around canvassing the neighborhood and telling everybody, hey, get a new roof. Turns out I did need a new roof, but most of the townhomes did not. So the ones that got fully approved are building 11, which is 9,001 through, I think it's 9021 Lanark. And then building 10, which is, I think, 9025 Lanark. It's the two that are next to each other. And then the pool house. So those were approved by insurance for a complete replacement of the roofs, and then they're going to replace the gutters there as well. So we've sent a revised estimate from our roofing company to the insurance company. We're waiting to hear back from them. So as soon as that gets approved for their amount, they'll get started on those 3. We have 2 other ones that were approved for half a roof. So I don't know how the hell you replace half a roof. But that was 2 of them on Dunrobin. It was the 2700 one and the 2600. So once we get the first 3 approved, we're probably going to fight them on the other 2 and get an appraiser to try to get the entire roof covered, because if we're going to rip off half of it, we're going to have to replace the whole thing anyways. So it's just trying to get more paid by the insurance company. And the other ones just had minor damage that didn't get approved. But if we're going to do appraisal on the other 2, we may throw in a couple other buildings because we're paying the same amount for the appraiser pretty much anyways. Because there was damage listed for some of the other ones, but it wasn't enough to rise to the level of replacement. And on those, it was like 4 or 5 shingles were damaged, or there was damage on one certain area, but not substantial. Most of them were no damage. So that's where we'd have to decide if we want to fight them or not. They're going to start getting replaced in the next, I think it's 3 years anyways, out of the reserve fund, but it's just saving money out of the reserve. So when that first company came in, they're like, oh, we can get all of them replaced. They didn't go on the roofs. Then we had another company come out when I called around, and they went on the roofs, and they're like, yeah, we can probably get 6 or 7 of these approved. There were like 4 or 5 that had no damage at all. So obviously we did not go with that first company. It's like, we'll get them all approved, and then there's not damage on half of them. They're like circling damage that doesn't even exist. It'd be like bird poop that they circled on one of the roofs, because the new guy sent me a picture literally of them circling bird poop. So that's where we're at with the townhome roofs. So that needs to get done before we start doing any gutter repairs or anything else, because we'll probably just have their gutter guys do it. Does anybody have questions about that? Was that too fast?
No questions. I just wanted to add, if you're doing gutters, if you're doing them anyway, has it been discussed to put the covers over the gutters so the leaves don't get in there?
I was going to discuss just cutting down every one of those trees and not ever having to worry about the gutters again, because people keep complaining about the trees, and they complain the grass doesn't grow, but they have mismatched trees all the way down the line that people think looks good for some reason. I don't know who does. I don't. Like one side's one kind of tree, one side's another kind of tree mixed with crepe myrtles. I would just cut them all down, and then we don't have to deal with it ever again. But that's what I wanted to do last year, and nobody else did.
I will leave that to someone else that sees the trees. Until this conversation, I didn't know there were trees there, honestly.
I would be fine cutting them down.
Oh, we just need one more vote. Let's cut these trees down. Rob, vote to cut the trees down. Let's do it.
Rob has left you in charge of this.
Did he have to leave?
Yeah, he's out.
Ah, shit. Hey, Virginia, cut down.
Oh, we're gonna vote now to cut down the trees without Rob?
Cut them all down. I'm proposing to cut down every one of those stupid trees down Capricorn Drive, so that no one has to complain about their pipes not having enough water pressure, or their
Well, that's a little too
growing.
late anyway, because no, if you cut down the trees, then the roots will die. So that would solve my problem. That would have solved our plumbing problem from now to
It solves the plumbing. It solves people complaining their grass
Yeah.
doesn't grow.
Right.
It solves all the leaves people complain about getting picked up, but it takes like 5 times to pick them all up because so many stupid leaves.
right, and then we can actually plant some grass that grows.
I think that needs to be a part of a bigger landscaping conversation. That's what you were just alluding to, Virginia. If you're going to make a call like that, you got to have a longer plan than let's just cut out the trees and get rid of the stumps. You want to make sure.
We can't. The reason, let me explain that, because I've been this thing for 8 years now. So the reason why, because I remember we having people complain about why do we put pine straw over the grass. There is no grass. What you're dealing with right now is some mold, the moldy little grass stuff. There is no grass. Grass cannot grow with the roots of trees. The trees are, there's a whole bunch of roots there, and then they're not growing because there's shade. So you don't have anything that is allowing the grass to grow. So that's the reason why, instead of having it look so bad, then just put the pine straw over it until we come up with some type of solution, because it looks really bad. So that's the reason why the pine straw was over some of the grass this year. So now to go back to, I've walked the property, everybody's walked the property, when you do the dogs, everything, all you see is roots in front of those, in the front of those townhomes. You see roots, the grass cannot grow. There you cannot reseed and seed that in that area. So that's the reason why I don't know who the developer was, whose wise idea that was, but that was not smart. So the problem now is, like you're saying, we're gonna have to take the trees up. Once the tree's up and the roots are grounded, then you can seed, reseed, and actually put some fescue grass there with your sprinkler system going, and then it looks nice and beautiful. But that takes some time and process. So that's the reason why I'm looking like that.
Okay. And I'm not just throwing an extra layer of complexity here, but once the trees go out, you've got to account for the amount of fill dirt that has to go in there, because you're going to grind up stumps and get rid of all the roots and everything. You'll have to level it to get the appropriate amount of dirt there so the grass can actually grow in.
Exactly. Yeah. My husband's a landscaper. Yeah, I know. He used to be a landscaper. So yeah. Believe me, I got you. It's just a matter of, the budget and what we can afford. If we have to do sections at a time, I mean, it just depends. But our problem are the trees. That is the problem with the trees and the grass right now. So our problem is the trees. I'm all for cutting them down. That's just me. I mean, my husband tell you I'm crazy because I want to cut that one little tree in front of my house down. I mean, I'm for cutting the trees down. I mean, if that's what you guys want to do, we could get a decent price on it, a decent cost. Someone in here with bonded and insurance, just in case one swings one way not supposed to. I am okay with it.
Okay. You guys sold me. I like the idea. Because you're right. I have when I do go over there, I don't recognize the trees because I'm just looking at my dogs, but I do recognize all the roots that are all over the place and the lack of grass. I see where you guys are coming. If it helps, I've used the tree guys that we use for those crepe myrtles in the center of the entrance. I've used them a couple of times on my property, and they're fantastic, and they have all the toys. They just happen to be very, very expensive, but they're really good at what they do. And
Well,
so
you know
they-
what? And I'm glad you said that, because Eric, wasn't we looking for them?
Yeah.
I got his number. I can text him right now. He'll text me, but he'll text me back. His name's Wes or something. I've got it.
You know what? And I'm gonna leave that number to you, because I'm gonna let you do tree projects.
Don't let me with a good time. I'll find up some.
Now, boys, if you don't mind, you can get them and then get a couple other companies. And it literally, it's
Exactly.
literally the whole road, just everything in front of the townhomes, the whole way down that road, all of it's got to come and just see what the,
Oh,
and it might be something where we need to just cut them down and have the stumps low, and then 6 months or a year later do the stumps, depending on pricing, but we'll just have
right,
to figure it out
exactly.
and then have a meeting for that once we have more
Also-
information.
Also, I wanna also look at the Lennar in the back. They have the same problem. There is no grass there. There's no nothing. So we do those 2 rows, maybe come back the next year and do that road.
It's the same off Burke Hill. I'm on Burke
Exactly.
Hill.
Yes, exactly.
So
Yep.
you're just you got the trees need to be removed. Now you said your husband is a landscaper. I'm assuming that you haven't mentioned that he's interested in trying to get the grass grow or anything. So he doesn't.
No. He used to be a landscaper. No. We're gonna let the landscape people do that. Yeah.
You've got the trees are easy enough. I mean, they just cut them up. They do a great job of grinding the stumps. There's
Right.
one complication I will tell you about is this. When they did that, now I don't know what trees are out there. Are they crepe myrtles? What's out in front of the townhomes right now?
They're like sugar maple, I think.
Yep,
Okay.
and crepe myrtle.
All right.
The
So
big
I know
ones are sugar maple.
I don't know about the maples, but when they came out and they removed the trees from the previous owner of this house, put in the back, ground the stumps, did a great job. But if you leave it alone, they will grow back. You'll have to do it again. These trees, I've got, what is it? There's a crepe myrtle and there's a couple hydrangeas. If you leave it well enough alone and don't do anything else, they will grow back. The roots will start growing trees again. So there, I throw that out there not to add complexity, just to let you know that if you're going to do it, you might want to consider doing fill dirt and getting the grass seed down, do it all at once, and stay on top of those trees that might come back, because they will. They're going to try to grow, especially when you're throwing water down. I didn't do anything in my backyard, just cleared them, and now I've got more trees. I kid you not, I've got to dig up more trees.
So is there anything? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm just saying they're pervasive, and it's just something to keep in mind. Obviously, trees grow slow. It's not that big a deal, but I was surprised that they came back with the roots that were left in there. They dug the stumps out, but the roots go everywhere, and they'll come right back up. So just
So there's no
something to-
kind of chemical we can put down, you think, or nothing that we can put down to kill them?
Oh, I'm sure there is. I don't know anything about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I would, yeah.
I think
There's
right now we
things-
just need to get pricing for literally doing every tree in front of a house, and then figure out from there how we need to segment it out to actually get it done efficiently and that we can
We'll work on it. I'll get the numbers for you.
Sounds good.
All right, so Boyce and Matt have projects now. I like this.
What's
Eric projects.
now, I want to, who is it? Is it Boyce or Matt? Who wants to help me with landscaping? Because
Why am I getting this is Boyce. Why is it Boyce getting roped into landscaping? The one thing I don't like doing, but I can do. Like, but I'll
I'm saying which one? Who wants to help in landscaping? Help!
All you have to do is like go check it out like every other week, and they did that.
I've got you. And it's, I've got the house that's here on the corner, and I make sure that my landscaping is nice, and because it's a highly visible house. So I know what I'm looking for. It's not exactly my forte, but I've learned through the lessons of being here and how to make my yard look good, what it is that it takes to make a yard look good, and what a bad one looks like. I can help you.
Virginia, are you still doing architectural review or is Rob doing that?
I think Virginia cut out.
I thought you were doing that, Eric, the architect.
So,
No,
well,
I
this
stopped,
is
I
the thing.
stopped that last
You know,
year
after we
when
cut
Rob
out,
kept going
usually
behind me
when
and
I have
like
questions,
meeting with people. So I was like,
I'm
I'm done.
Right, exactly. So yeah, I'm doing architect, but you know, I've got a fist to prove that I have a question about. So I will get with you, Eric. But the thing about the landscape that am learning, and every year is something new, but it's the same thing. The thing about landscaping is you have to be on top of them as far as when they come out and they're doing the cutting and they misplace. So that's the type of help that I need, because there's times where I'm so busy that I don't get a chance to roll around and make sure they didn't miss anything. And then somebody calls and complains because they missed the whole side of their yard. So does that make sense?
It makes sense. I'll help you. We don't have to have
So
that full
without, so
conversation.
yeah. So what we'll do is we'll get together and we'll get we make one of we'll get together and have a meeting with the landscaping, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, sounds good.
If
Thank
this
you.
is something that you want to split up, because I know Boyce, you're in the single family side, I walk my dogs around the townhome section every day, multiple times. So
There you go.
if you want me to just walk around townhomes and check it out over here, I can do that.
All right. So what I'll do is when I make my my yearly springtime, get ready to get the schedule with the landscaping, then we'll all get together and meet up at the pool. We walk with them and let them know what we want, and then we go from there.
Okay.
But really the biggest extent of it's going to be just someone checking different areas so everyone can just walk around whatever their area that they're next to. Because I always just doing the 2 sections on Caprington and the one on the other side of the neighborhood because I live right next to it. So,
and then we assign
either.
right, and then we assign that one person to call the landscaping. They'll be that communicator, which is better instead of all of us contacting them. So one person does that, and then they handle it with that one person.
Sounds good. May the odds be ever in our favor for this one.
All righty.
All right, on to the budget. Let me do a screen share. I think we can vote to just move money and not worry about that $250 of bad debt. It's not going to matter that much one way or the other anyways. So let me do the screen share for the 2021 budget. So hang on 1 second. All right, is everybody looking at this thing? Can you see my
Yep.
spreadsheet?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Did it? Hopefully you guys looked at it ahead of time. If not, you don't need to call yourself out now. But I'll start on the calculation notes page, which is kind of the summary, because I didn't do a summary page yet to post for the neighborhood. But we finished 17,000 under budget. A lot of that's just because of the maintenance. So we did not do pressure washing and gutters and stuff for the townhomes because we needed to save that 6,000 to be able to cover the cost of the pressure washing and gutter repairs this year with the other expected expenses. So if you look down, the biggest savings, that's line 6. General maintenance, we essentially didn't touch it. So once we split general and townhome maintenance, like 99% of the maintenance has been just townhome repairs. There was one little thing at the pool that wasn't pool specific. I think that's the only thing that hit general maintenance. So we probably won't be using that $5,000 this year either. But it's in there because we budgeted it. So if we don't use it again this year, we can lower that line item going forward. The townhome maintenance, it stayed 6,000 under like we were expecting in November. We had one other repair that we had to do, and that was it. Legal expense, we'll probably be able to lower that line item in 2023 because the attorney we use basically pushes on all their fees to whoever they have to go after. So unless we need them to do an opinion letter or something else, we typically aren't spending a lot out of that line item. We used to before based on the way the old attorney billed. But the new attorney is way better, way more efficient, and we don't pay as much because the person that we're going after ends up having to pay the attorney fees and their fines. Accounting expense, we have the world's worst auditor. I tried to call her again today. She never answers. Ashley tries to get a hold of her. We have a contract with her to do both the 2020 and 2021 audits. We're required by our bylaws to do an annual audit. The first 2 years, she was great. She turned them around in like a month and she's like, oh yeah, I'll have it done in a month. I know what we're doing. It's freaking a year later, it's still not done. So I don't know if she just pushes it aside and does higher paying jobs or what the hell she's doing. So I end up following up her like every month. She's like, I'll get it to you as soon as possible. And like a month later, I follow up, when is as soon as possible? You still haven't sent me the audit. So that's just gonna hit. It didn't get used, but it's just gonna get hit that amount in the budget for 2022. It's gonna get double billed. So that's just an FYI for everybody on that. We did not use the town hall miscellaneous landscaping expense line item. We did use the common one because we just used that to do the clearing around the retaining wall. And then we were going to do a transfer from reserves, but because it fit in the budget, we just didn't bother doing the reserve transfer. So in the common fund, I think we saved like $9,000 in the common reserve fund because we didn't need to use it. And then electricity was lower. I don't know why. It was just lower. Overages were water, sewage, because we ran the water sprinkler, and then DHEC, we got the fine. So we created, we talked about at the very beginning with Ashley, we created a DHEC line item just to track it. So we paid the fine in 2021 and it's going to get reimbursed in 2022. So just to make sure it's able to be tracked across the 2 years by someone besides me, we made it its own line item so people will know what the heck's happening. Accounting is the only outstanding one. This is the delinquency comparison, which is even better. It's been better the last like 3 years when we got the new attorney, because now it used to be like 15,000. 2020 it was 7,600. This past year it was 9,000, but we just got the payment for over 4,000. So we're down to about 5,000 total. We'll see what happens in January because everybody misses their January payments. But overall, that's very, very good for an HOA to only have that much in delinquencies. So I guess we can go through. That summarizes this page. So this is the full budget page with the breakdown, year-to-date actuals, year-to-date budget is G, H, and I, the ones I'm highlighting. So nothing extremely exciting here. That's just the totals. So everybody has those already in their account. There's nothing we really need to go through line item by line item on this. The only thing we need to be aware of on this is, like I said at the beginning when we started this year, that any budget savings were going to get credited to the specific reserve fund. So if it was a general expense and we saved $5,000 generally, it would go an extra contribution to the common reserve fund. If the townhome saved specific townhome funds, which is like that $6,000 for the townhome maintenance, it would go straight to the townhome reserve fund. That would be used to offset the following year's budget. So in 2023, there'll be more money ideally in that reserve fund than what should be there based on the projection. So that way we can hopefully not have to increase dues because it'll be offset by the amount, whatever inflation and everything else increases will be offset by the amount we were able to put in from the previous year. But doing the townhomes got me started down a rabbit hole again with insurance expenses. So the insurance expense had generally, I'll switch over to that sheet so you guys can kind of look at something while you tune me out. The insurance expense was initially set up at 97% townhomes, 3% single family based on the property coverage amount. when we put in the roof claims and I'm going through the properties and I start adding up the deductibles, it didn't make sense to be 97.3 because two of the quote unquote buildings were the pool house and the pool out of the, I think it's like 15 total that we have covered. So when I reached out to them to say like, hey, this doesn't seem right because we're at 97.3 based on the building coverage being strictly townhomes, but these two should be common charges. Then they went back and reran their numbers on all of the insurance. And it came back that the breakdown should have been 91% townhome, 9% single family homes. So that's what line 1 is. So I was trying to go through and say, hey, did we owe money back to the townhomes? And then we get through the whole thing that got us started to splitting the accounts initially when I started doing the budget is that if you go back through the years, if you look at, so starting on line 3, it's 2019, 2020. So just general starting point. Let me highlight that. Our insurance runs April to April and it's billed over 10 months. So it's a pain in the ass to calculate into an annual budget because it's going to go up almost right when you start the year. So our current one that is 2021, 2022 is going to end in April. We're going to get charged for the 2021, 2022 billing cycle in January and February. We don't get charged for it in Actually, no, we get charged in January. We don't get charged in March and April. And it resets in April and we pay on the new one in April. So that's why we have to do all the calculations to try to figure out what the increase is going to be, which we're just guessing at based on projections of insurance rates. And then we have to divide it out and do the split. So it's a huge pain in the ass every year. But long story short is that's what we've paid the last 3 years for our actual budget. Column C here is what should have been charged to townhomes. Column D is what should have been charged as single family. The issue we run into, and this is why we split the budgets to begin with, is back in 2019. That was back when the insurance was not split at all. So the single families were actually ended up paying $10,000 of the expense when they should have been paying closer to $1,400 to $1,000. So when I tried to go back and figure out if we needed to do some sort of back payment based on the change in calculation, it didn't really make sense to try to make a payment from common to the townhomes because that 2019 amount offsets the whole thing. So if you look at the total there, the total payment over the course of through 2023 on line 7 should be under 8,000 for single families, and they've paid what, 13,000 total there. So that's the issue we're running into, is that because of the overpayment in 2019 and historically the overpayment every year since the existence of the neighborhood since it started all the way through till we split it. I didn't think it made sense to do an adjustment for what we're going to be contributing to the reserve accounts for based on the insurance difference. Does that make sense at all?
It does. I don't think that anybody, well, I certainly wouldn't have thought to do everything that you just said to do the budget. So makes sense, but I would never have thought of any of that.
All right, so that's why when I went through and did the calculations, so every year we do the reserve fund contribution. That's what dues get paid to. This was the first year we had enough extra funds in operating that we weren't charging the common one. So the contribution that we're going to be making, that we make for 2022, is going to be $40,400 that goes to the townhome reserve fund from their contributions, and then the $38,380. That's what's scheduled to go in for 2022. The amounts that are extra from the 2021 calendar year is an extra $8,097 from townhome specific funds, and then an extra $9,551 that'll get put into the common reserve for their overage. And that's just going through the line items of what's over. I think the townhomes, the only ones that are specific to townhomes were the townhome maintenance. Yeah, so it's lines I-39 and I-43. So it's townhome maintenance, which saved, if you look at column I here, it saved 6,000. And then 39 was the miscellaneous landscaping townhomes, which got paid only by townhomes, which is the 2,000. So that's money that was paid solely by townhomes for townhomes expenses that did not get used in 2021. So that $8,000.97 will get put into reserves. So that's what we'd have to vote on. And then that 9,500 amount is just the difference. So it's the total. We were under budget minus the amount that's townhome specific is the $9,000 amount that goes to the common reserve fund. That makes sense, hopefully.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so the only thing we would need to do as a board then is to just have a motion to do the 2022 reserve contributions. Typically what we do is because we accumulate the funds for them over the course of the year, you would need to pay it at the end of the year. But because we had that extra money in operating that we don't necessarily need to pay bills right away with, we just go ahead and did the contribution at the beginning of the year to earn more interest last year. So we would just do the same thing this year. So the first motion would be a motion to move $40,400 from the operating account to the townhome reserve fund and to move $38,380 from the operating account to the common reserve fund for the 2022 scheduled reserve contributions. Anybody?
I like it.
Okay, so Virginia, yes, no, good.
Yes, I'm good. I tried to stuff from you. Yeah,
Virginia.
I'm good. I'm good.
Yes, I think that was boys. Matt, are you voting? Yes, no?
Yes.
All right, so it's unanimous, blah, blah, blah. All right, so that's good to go. So then same thing, a motion to move $8,097 from operating to the townhome reserve fund and to move the $9,551.89 from operating to the common reserve fund. Everybody good on that one?
Yes.
Yes.
So I'll just have to send the email to Ashley and they'll get those moved. That'll actually allow us to start getting the 0.1% interest on the one account. Just some of them don't even earn interest right now. So that's the one nice thing about the Fed going up. At least we'll get better interest rates when these accounts start renewing, because we have ladder CDs and some other things that they're putting right now that do better than nothing, but don't do great.
So as a side, I have a friend that does this stuff. We are free to take reserve money as long as it's liquid, and we can move it where we need to and get the best interest rate that we can, the best growth that we can on it. We can do that as a board, as long as we can get at the money quickly. Is that true?
We don't necessarily need to get at all the money quickly, because if you look at it, they have over $100,000 in the accounts. And we have the projections. So hang on, I'll just go to the reserve contribution plan. So right now, this are my actuals, or is that the estimates? This is the actuals. So right now, townhomes has 130,000 in theirs. Common has 400,000. For 2022, there's expected $6,000 of expenses to come out of the common one, and nothing expected to come out of the townhome. So the money doesn't necessarily need to be readily available. That's why we just normally do CDs, because they're protected. But if you know a banker, I don't like our bank. So if you know a company that would like to take over our accounts, we have to leave our operating account with our management company's bank, but all the other ones we can move to another bank to get better interest rates. And that'll be available. Our main CD with 300,000 in it matures in May. And then all the ladders mature between March and June. So it'll all be liquid by June if we want to move banks, instead of putting it back into something at the bank that I hate right now.
And nothing may come of it, but I'll run it by him. We'll see.
But it's basically, if we leave what's in the operating, it'll basically be like $600,000 worth of accounts if they're interested in us moving it over. Because right now the ones that are in ICS accounts, so they still have protection, they only get 0.1% interest. Those ones we can make like 6 transfers a month.
What? 0.1?
Yeah, because we didn't want to tie those up in CDs. So now we've got to figure out the CDs we're only making. They're originally, I think, like 0.8, but now they're like 0.45. So none of them get great rates. So if you talk to someone, they get better rates. Like I'd even tried to get a hold of Bank of America and I can't get anybody to meet with me. My wife works there, so who knows? But
All right.
current bank sucks.
Who are we banking with right now?
Let me pull it up. It's like CIT Bank.
Okay.
Yeah, it's CIT Bank. Our like statements and stuff come from like Arizona. But that's who the management company uses. So that's where they put all of our money until we tell them to move it somewhere else. But I've already been planning on moving it somewhere else because I don't like our manager either. So that's why we're trying to make sure it was all available at some point this year so we can move it if we found somewhere else to move it to.
Okay. Sorry, I should have asked that question off to the side. Thank you.
That's fine. I don't care. If he watches the YouTube, he knows I don't like him, so that's fine. I think that's all I had for budget stuff. We did insurance, and then we did the motions. So that's all I have. Does anybody else have anything? We can just wrap up and adjourn.
Nope.
Is this that time where the guy in the front of the class raises his hand and starts asking a long question about the homework?
I don't know, unless Laura has a question since she sat through this whole thing. Laura, do you have a question?
No, I'm all good.
Okay. All right, so motion to adjourn will be official. Someone second, then we can.
Yes, I motion to adjourn.
All right, done. All right, I'll figure out how to stop this recording and upload it for Rob. See if I don't mess it up.
All right, I'm gonna cut out. I got another meeting.
Thanks, guys.
Love y'all. See y'all later. Bye.
Bye.
All right, bye.